same presentation live in Brisbane, and it went for 3 hours. Today we're going to be smashing it in for 1 hour. So get your hand ready, get a pen and paper ready to rock and roll. And Robert, welcome from 100 Ks east of Melbourne, wanting to get tips and tricks for online. I'm assuming you mean like online lead generation plus setup. Cool. Be as specific as you can, guys, with this. We've got Michael from Darwin. Welcome, Michael. Welcome also to Andy, to Jake, to Natasha, to Robert, Stacy, and William. Awesome to have you guys on board. So if you're just tuning in now, we've got a few people just rolling in as it's right on go time. Just pop in where you're coming from, so where you are located and what it is that you want to get out of our time today, so that I can make sure that we cover that thing for you, okay? And as we go through, there'll be time for questions. So if you have a question on anything, type it through as it pops up, and when I get a second, whenever I grab a drink, I'll normally have a look and see what questions are coming through so I can make sure we're staying on track for you. Now, if you haven't already, grab a pen and paper. If you missed what I just said before, we're cramming a 3-hour live presentation into 1 hour today. So my goal for today is give you as much information that you can take away and implement. So it's all going to be very simple, implementable strategies that you can take away and grow your business. Okay, at the end of the presentation, I'm going to be telling you about what we do at PEPT and how we can potentially help you open a highly profitable and highly leverageable location, which means you can build a team in the future to help you run your business. So I'm going to be walking you through that today. So get excited. If you're not already, now's your chance. Get excited. We're going to rock and roll. It's going to be an action-packed hour, and I hope you are ready to go. So that's about it from the intro. We're going to get cracking because we do not have the luxury of time today. Welcome to everyone who's just tuning in there now. Okie dokie. Just got to get my clicker to work now. We've got all the technical dramas happening today. It's good times. Okay, so the plan of attack for today. We're going to be talking about the 5 phases of growing a business that is highly profitable and works without you. We're going to be teaching you how to generate 20 plus leads every single week. Okay, pop your hand up if you would like to know how to generate 20 plus leads every single week. Okay, there's a little hand button there for you. Pop that up. Perfect, perfect. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to teach you how to turn those leads into paying clients. Okay, super, super important. No good getting heaps of leads if you don't turn them into clients. I'm going to teach you how to keep those clients coming back for years on end. I'm going to teach you how to build a dream team. Who would like to know how to build a team really effectively so they can run your business for you? Hands up if you would like to go away on holidays and come back with a business that's bigger than when you left. Few hands going up there. That's exciting. Cool. All right. Awesome. And I'm going to tell you, like I said, about PEPT, Positive Existence Personal Training, which is my business. And I'm going to answer any questions that you have at the end of our presentation today. So I hope that sounds good and you are ready to rock and roll because we're going to get cracking. First of all, most of you guys don't know me from a bar of soap. You've just clicked on an ad on Facebook and popped your details in. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Who am I? Okay, so my name is Jake, if you missed that right at the start, and I am the founder and CEO of Positive Existence Personal Training. So around the world, we have 36 locations, 35 of which are here in Australia, one of which is in India, okay? Which I'll show you a picture of in a second. Top right of your screen, that's here where I'm speaking to you from at PEPT Clontarf in Redcliffe in Brisbane. Down the bottom left, that's one of our locations up in Gladstone in central Queensland. The guys rocking out there. This location's here just north of Brisbane at Caboolture. Down here is PEPT Pune in India. So that's our first overseas location in India, which is really, really cool. You can see a couple of our trainers there, Rakesh and Sid. They are legends. That's over in WA, one of our WA locations, one of 4 locations in WA now. And that's PEPT Bassendean, the first one that we ever had over there. And this is the guy who taught me the most important lesson I have ever learned. So his name is Jason Rich, and he was my best mate growing up. This photo was of him in high school, and when he taught me this lesson was when we were 21, Jason passed away in a car accident. And what that taught me is you simply do not know how long you have on this earth, and you do not have time to wait to do the things that you want to do. So if there's something that you want and there's an impact you want to have, or something you want to achieve, or something you want to accomplish, you have to do it now. You have to start now, because you literally do not have time. Okay? None of us know how much time we have. What we do know is we can get started, we can have a crack, we can go now, we can start moving forward, we can have an impact. Okay? But putting it off, waiting, or doing things that aren't fulfilling our values or aren't helping us achieve what we want to achieve in our life, simply not going to cut it. Okay, so that's a massive lesson that I learned from Jason. And I made a promise to myself years and years ago when this happened that he wouldn't die for no reason. Okay, we didn't lose him for no reason. There is a reason for everything, right? We just have to decide what that reason is. And I decided that, hey, this is going to teach me a lesson, and with that lesson, I'm going to go and have a massive impact on the world. Okay, and that's where PEP started to really grow. Okay, when we decided, hey, this thing has to be bigger. There's people out there that need our help. Okay, and that's really, really important to have a why before we even get started on the tactics. To have a why that is bigger than yourself. Okay, because it's not about you. All right, this is about what you can do for the world. All right, and we've also started this thing called the Jason Rich Foundation, and at this point in time, we put 1,337 Year 12 students through a full day of defensive driving training, and we've raised around about 350 grand, I think, at last count. So to put all those kids through those courses, which is really, really cool, and something really awesome that I'm really, really proud of that we've been able to achieve. But also, we're just getting started on both fronts, okay? PEP and JRF. It's day one today. We're just learning the lessons that we need to learn to get this thing to where we need to get, so that we can have the impact on the world that we were put here to have. Okay, so that's cool. That's a little bit about me. And now I am really excited to be here with you today to help you with a whole bunch of stuff. If you haven't noticed already, I might get a bit excited and start talking really fast. So what I need you to do is listen just as fast as I talk, and I need you to write even faster. So you want to be taking lots and lots of notes today. Super, super important, so that we can come away with some actionable steps. Now, you might also notice my voice is a bit croaky. I've had a bit of a man flu for a few days, so bear with me and give me lots and lots of sympathy if I do start to lose my voice. That will be amazing. Okay, let's get cracking. I want to know what you want to know. Okay, so tell me, what do you want to learn? Pop it in the comments, and I've just got to exit out of our show for a second because there's something going on and I can't see your question. So I'm just going to exit out of the show while you let me know what you want to know. So type it into the question box there. What do you want to learn today? There's a little box where you can type stuff. We had Robert, who's already said wants some tips and tricks for online stuff. So I assume online lead generation is what you're talking about there, Robert. So we can definitely help with that. Plus setup, and I'm not sure what you mean by setup. So let me know. Be as specific as you can with them. And let me know what it is that you want to know so I can make sure that we cover it. Okay, Michael, I'm having plenty of leads on occasions, but I'm having trouble converting those leads into paying clients. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to walk you through some really great things there in the terms of sales and turning leads into clients. That's awesome. Okay, cool. What else have we got? Remember, if you don't speak up, you're not going to get your specific thing covered. So make sure you pop it in if there's something specific you've come here for. Okay, and while you're popping that in, I'm going to get cracking. So Robert said basically conversions also. So conversions what? Conversions from putting an ad into a lead, converting from getting a lead into a client, converting it from a trial program into an ongoing program, Be specific as you can. Cool. How to grow internationally for William. Cool. Woe to go. Okay, so first lesson of the day, be specific with your intention. If you say, oh, I want to just learn heaps of stuff, there's going to be heaps of stuff, but your brain's not going to latch on to anything specific. So before we start any meeting, any learning experience, try and get really clear on exactly what you want to learn. Okay, so William wants to learn how to grow internationally. Cool, cool, cool. First things first, you need to grow on a small scale and get it right. Okay, so without knowing exactly where you're at in your business, William, that'll be the first thing. You've got to get the basics right, because if you try and scale something when the basics aren't right, you're going to end up multiplying your problems. Okay, and I can give you a whole nother talk on that one. Anyway, let's get cracking back to our show here. All right, so I'm going to skip through this one. We are going to start talking about the 5 phases of growing a business that is highly profitable and works without you. So, phase number 1 is the Street Fighter phase, and this is where we're going to spend most of our time today, because this is, in my experience, where most of you guys are going to be. And when I start talking about it and I'll say who's in this phase, most of your hands will probably go up. We'll spend a bit of time in the preschool phase. This is where you think you're all grown up and you think you're a big boy or girl until you go to preschool and realize you're the littlest kid there and you've got so much to learn. Okay, and that's when we start hiring team members. Okay, that's where we get our first team member, realize how much we've got to learn. Phase 3 is adulthood. So in adulthood, we start to have some responsibilities. This might mean moving into a studio, having a lease over your head that you have to worry about. Phase 4 is graduation, where you start to get a lot of your business starting to be leveraged, but you still can't go away for long periods of time. You might be able to go away for a week or so, but any more than that and the business starts to suffer. And phase 5, entrepreneur, is when somebody else runs your business for you and you have the freedom to go and do other things. Pop your hand up if you would like to have a business like that one day, where you could go and start another business, another location, go on holidays, do some charity work, play with your kids, whatever it is, without having to worry about running the business on a day-to-day basis. Okay, some hands going up. Beautiful. Everyone else must really just love working every day, and that's cool too. So it's great to have some options though on that topic. So you might not see yourself right now wanting to ever not train people or help people directly like that, help clients directly, I should say. But what if your wife got sick? What if your husband got sick? Would you like to be able to take 3 months off to go and care for them? If they were really critically ill, would you change then? Because here's the thing, if they get sick tomorrow, you don't have that choice because you haven't set your business up in such a way where you have choices. So it's really, really important to start with the end in mind so that we can live a life of choice, which in my book equals freedom. Okay, when we get to choose if we go to work or not, or choose if we go and donate our time or money to a cause, that's when we have some real freedom. Okay, cool, in my opinion. Now, phase 1, Street Fighter phase. You are everything. Who can relate to that? They're everything in their business. Hands up. So if you are the salesperson, you're the marketing person, you're the head of training, as in you run all the sessions, okay? You're the PT, you're the guru of everything in your business, okay? And it's all you. So if you get sick or injured, or maybe just have a rough time in your personal life, your business is going to suffer incredibly, okay? It's going to follow you up and down. Okay, biggest challenge is going to be juggling everything. Sure, you guys can relate to this. You do a bunch of marketing, or you work really hard on marketing, you do a bunch of sales, and you're so busy training clients that you don't do any more marketing, and then you lose a few clients and you're kind of back to square one. Okay, if that's ever happened to you, you know how frustrating that seesaw can be. Self-management. So people talk about time management, but the thing is, you can't manage time, you can manage yourself, right? What you do with your time. So basically that means, if you want to grow your business, are you spending your time on the activities that are going to grow your business, or are you just training people all day? If you're just training people all day, or looking at your Facebook all day, or whatever it is, not growing your business, then you're going to be reflected in that in results. Okay, so if you want to grow your business, you need to invest large chunks of time in business growing activities like marketing and sales and attracting the right team and leading and managing team, etc., etc. Limiting belief is one of the biggest challenges for most personal trainers that I speak to, and which is a lot of personal trainers. So, and I can certainly relate because, when I first started, all I wanted to do was, actually, when I first became a PT, I just wanted to get through uni. I wasn't looking at a career. I just thought becoming a personal trainer would be a better job than packing boxes at the warehouse where I was working, at 20 years old, going through uni. So I got an email one day that said, do this course because I was doing a human movements degree and it was much quicker. I could get all these recognized prior learnings and I thought, great, that'll be a cool job. So at no point at that, time in my life did I think this is going to be huge. Okay, it wasn't until later my eyes started to open up with some great mentors, and hopefully I can start that process for some of you guys today. So I'm going to talk about how to overcome these challenges in just a moment. The keys to success, which we're going to focus most of our time on today, because my goal for today is really to help you get from street fighter phase to preschool in the next few months so that you can start thinking about growing a team. Okay, you can either just keep working really hard and make more money, which, I'm sure sounds really cool as well. But also then with that more money, you can choose to invest that in your future and start hiring team members, okay, and training them up, which is where the fun really, really begins, okay, and you start to learn a whole bunch more about life and yourself and growing a business that's going to allow you the freedom to actually have a life, which is really cool. So, keys to success. We need to be able to generate leads. We need to be able to convert leads. And we need to be able to keep clients once we've converted them. Okay, it's very simple if we look at it like that, but we're going to break each one of those down. Here's a question I want you to ask yourself. Who do you need to be successful at the Street Fighter stage, to break through to the preschool stage? Who do you need to be? Do you need to be an action taker or do you need to be a lazy person, right? Do you need to be a go-getter? Do you need to be disciplined, okay? Think of the person you need to be and start being that person, because only when you start being that person are you ever going to be able to do all the things that need to be done. And I'm going to tell you what they are in just a second. But you're never going to do them unless you're an action taker, okay? So even if up until this point in your life, you haven't been a big enough action taker, you can change that as of right now, okay, with a decision, which is super cool and super important that you make that decision. Okay, similar to, you have the New Year's resolutioners. Think of them. They change what they do, but they don't change who they are, and therefore they go back to their old ways. So they decide on New Year's Day, I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to start going to the gym. They start going to the gym, but they still identify themselves as a lazy person or, someone that loves junk food, etc., etc. So 1 or 2 weeks into their resolution, they're back on the couch watching Oprah eating corn chips, right? So we need to change who we are. We need to change our identity if we're ever going to change the things that we do every single day, which are going to be the ways that we get to our next level of results. Okay, so lead generation. Hands up if you would like some help and would like me to teach you how to generate a shit ton of leads. Put your hand up if you want to know how to get more leads. Woo! All right. Okay, if you didn't put your hand up, you can tune out now because the next 10 minutes is going to be me giving you the best info I've got on how we generate literally hundreds of leads every single week. Okay, so if you don't want to hear that, you might want to tune out now. Okay, Facebook organic, what does that mean? Basically, on Facebook, you get 2 types of lead generation. You have organic, which is unpaid, free stuff, and you have paid advertising, which is obviously stuff that you pay for. So here's just a little example of something that we found to be really, really successful, where we post something up like this, and it's really, really simple. It's a testimonial with a link. Now, if you don't have a web page, even if you do have a web page, what I recommend you do is one of 2 things. You either sign up to lead pages, which is what you can see there. It's a link to a lead page, which is just simply a landing page. You click on it, it goes to a nice looking landing page, blah, blah, blah. Or there's another one called ClickFunnels. Now, we've just recently switched over to ClickFunnels, which is a little bit more complicated, takes a bit more work. So, we are in the process of hiring a full-time marketing person. So we want the one that's going to be the bee's knees, be the best, but it's going to take more work, right? It's going to be better in the long run. If you just want a quick, simple solution because you've got nothing, you need to set up a page, I'd recommend Lead Pages because it's much simpler to use for you, okay? So you're going to set up a lead page so that way they've got somewhere to click through to and put their details in. And then you'll get a testimonial from your clients and you'll pop it in here, okay? And you'll post it on your page. Every time you post something cool on your page, you can post that link with it. So anyone sees that, wow, that's a cool looking session, I'll click that link and away we go. Now, I'm going to give you a tip that generated one of our location owners 200 leads last week. Hands up if you would like to hear how we generated 200 leads last week. Anybody? Oh, okay, a couple of people. Fantastic. All right. So I'm just going to click through. I know it says Facebook paid there, but I'm clicking through because basically what he did was used a post very similar to this one that you can see on your screen. Okay, this is a paid one that we are using, but I just want to use that as an example. The copy was pretty much the same as that. And copy means the writing. Okay, so really simple. He went and found all the groups that had lots of women in them in his area. So things like the local buy, sell, swap group on Facebook. Okay, the local mums group on Facebook, the whatever group, right? In all, he posted this into 16 groups. Now he found that 3 of those groups got 90% of the leads from. Okay, so he'd posted something like this. A bunch of them would click through and put their details in, and a bunch more would comment below or send him a message, etc., etc. And all in all, it worked out to get 200 leads. Okay, it's a very simple strategy, absolutely, but it worked. So use it. Okay, simple. It's free. 200 leads. Literally, what we know is each client that we sign up is worth to our business around about $800 in their lifetime. Okay, out of 200 leads, we know that at least 1 of 4 of those is going to turn into a client. Okay, 1 out of 4 leads. So that means 50 times 800. So putting those posts in, combined with a great sales funnel, combined with great client retention, is going to generate $40,000 into his business. Okay, hands up if you would like an extra $40,000 for free. Awesome. Okay, fantastic. All right, so it's a simple strategy, but it works, so use it. Okay, other quick little tips on your organic stuff or your paid stuff for that matter. Anyone who ever posts on one of your things, they comment on anything, always give them a reply. Okay, always give them a reply and give them a call to action if they are inquiring. So for example, someone says, or someone tags their friend. This is a common one. A lot of PTs won't reply to that because they didn't ask a question. But if someone tagged their friend Sally, what I do is I jump on there and say, hey guys, thanks so much for checking out our great offer or checking out our offer. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a PM or just head over to this link and you copy and paste the link in, pop your details in, and I'll give you a call as soon as I can. Smiley face, okay? It's just a great touch, and you're going to dramatically increase the number of people that actually opt in to your offer or send you a message asking more questions, which is how we get the ball rolling, okay? So don't leave any comment unreplied to, for want of a better term. Okay, Facebook paid. There's many different ways to do your Facebook paid. One of the simplest, if you're just getting started on this, is to use a boosted post, which is what you can see on your screen here. So first of all, you're going to test it out organically to see which ones work well. So you post this up and it gets a few good likes and it's going great, better than most of your posts. That's fantastic. So what we're going to do is say, right, that post is working. That picture everyone loves. And, they love my copy because I'm getting more likes than usual. Okay, so you're going to go into your adverts manager. So you're not going to click that blue button that says boost because that's a good way to waste your money. You go into adverts manager and you go in and set up a boosted ad, which will make more sense as you go into it. And I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty of exactly how you do that, that's another day, and that's months worth of learning to get really technical. But long story short is you'll figure out and you'll learn. If you don't know anything about Facebook ads, you need to either invest time or money into that, okay, or both. If you haven't got any money, invest your time. There's heaps of free courses on Google. Check them out, and you can learn all about Facebook marketing. But long story short, it allows you to target exactly who you want to see your ad. Now, here's the thing though, as a trainer, if you want to get more clients, you need to know who those clients are. So get really, really specific. Are you trying to train everybody? Because if you're trying to be all things to everyone, you're going to be nothing to anybody, right? You're going to find it very hard to get clients. Because if I was a mum, wanting to get back into training after having kids, who would I want to go and see? The trainer who trains everybody, or the trainer who specializes in mums with kids and has child minding, etc., etc. Okay. Now, you don't have to be just one niche. You can have multiple niches like we do. We have our early morning and our nighttime boot camps for people that work. We have our boomer boot camps, which you would have seen that photo before. That was a boomer boot camp ad for the older population, 55 and over. And we have our mums and bubs where we offer free child minding as well. And we do it at friendly school hours. So you can have multiple niches, and each ad needs to be written to serve that niche. So if you're posting a post into a mums group on Facebook, make sure it speaks in the language of mums. Make sure it's got a photo of a mum with some kids or something like that, or some kids around while the mums are working out, or at least women working out, not a whole bunch of guys, in the mirror with big muscles, okay? So get really, really niche on who is actually going to be looking at this and who do I want coming to my boot camp or personal training, okay? So like I said, the Facebook page, there's many different ways to do it. You can set up boosted posts, which are more about getting eyeballs onto your posts, okay, and generating engagement on the post. You can set up a conversion ad, which is a little bit more complex, but you need to learn how to do that. And just briefly, I just sat down with my marketing coach on Monday, so I'll give you this extra bonus tip, which isn't technically in this presentation. But so this is a dude I pay 40 grand a year to give me advice. Who would like me to share what we learned on Monday and how we're changing all of our ads to get even better results? Anyone? Save you 40 grand? Okay, cool. So fantastic, lots of hands going up. So what we're going to do next, instead of these boosted posts sending people directly to our landing page, we're setting up conversion ads, okay? Again, if you don't know what that is, you're going to have to do some research. I can't teach you everything in 1 hour. Conversion ads, which are going to go straight to a really simple landing page, which just has to find out more info on our boot camp, special offer, blah, blah, blah. Put your name and email in, and then they go to the landing page, okay? Or the sales page, or what you might call it. Because currently we get about 20% opt-in on that. People that click on that little hyperlink, go to the page, 20% of them put their details in on the sales page, okay? So 80% of them are lost forever. There are other things we can do like remarketing, but really we want their email address so we can follow them up, so we can put them into an automated sequence, so we can teach them about how awesome our bootcamp is, introduce them to some of our trainers, have some great client testimonial videos sent out to them in email, so that eventually they come back through and they opt in with their phone number and fill in the little questionnaire so we can contact them about getting started to bootcamp, okay? So it's a simple change, but it's really, really powerful, okay? Because then we're able to build our email list much quicker, much stronger, and we're able to get a much higher opt-in, okay? So here's the thing about Facebook marketing, or any marketing for that matter, is you need to know your numbers. First number you need to know is, what is a client worth? Okay, so we know about $800 on average. Some will be worth only $47. They just do a trial and then that's it. Others might be worth $10,000, they say, for years. Others maybe $20,000. We've got people that have been here for 8 years since I started. So imagine the great clients that they've been and how much money they've invested in us. Okay, that's great. So you need to work out the average, okay, because we need to then figure out how much is it costing us to get a client. So we know on average it's going to cost us between $2 and $5 to get a lead. Okay, just to get someone to put their details in and comes to us. We know that 1 out of every 3 of those people becomes a client. Okay, and we know that on average every client brings in $800 into our business. Okay, so with those numbers, even on the higher side, if it costs us $5 per lead, that's $15 invested into an ad to get $800 in return. Hands up if you would invest $15 to get $800 in return. Hands up, hands up, hands up. Pretty good deal, isn't it? Okay, but you don't know until you know your numbers. And then the problem for most people is that $800 is we do not get that straight away. Okay, that's over time, obviously. You know, they're on a membership or they're paying weekly most of the time. So here's what we do to overcome that, and so that we can generate some great leads as well and make all of our ads work better, is we have this thing called a low barrier offer. So what you'll see on your screen there, it says 4 weeks of bootcamp for $47. That is a great offer. Now here's the cool thing about the $47. I put that ad up, you put your details in, I give you a call, book you in that day, the next day, or later that week, whatever. We sit down, have a bit of a chat, and you pay your $47 to do the 4-week trial. So within a week, in most cases, we've got $47. Okay, so our $15 is covered. What that allows us to do is put it straight back into more ads. Okay, so we can grow much faster. Whereas if we were giving away a free trial or something like that, we might get a bunch of leads, okay, but we're having to fork out that money, which we're not going to get back for quite some time. Okay, so that's one reason we do a low barrier offer. Second reason is we qualify the client a lot more. So instead of just giving away a week or 2 of our boot camps for free, which attracts a whole bunch of people, which we spend a bunch of time on, etc., which may not ever become clients, we cut all those people out and we say, right, you're obviously somewhat serious about your fitness and improving your health, because you want to come and try us out for 4 whole weeks, invest that time, and you're going to put a bit of money on the table to be able to do that and really get a good trial, which is fantastic. Okay, so we're able to spend our time with the clients who are much more serious than just trying out every free boot camp that's in our area. Okay, so that's super important. So have a low barrier offer. It doesn't have to be 4 weeks for $47. It could be 2 weeks for $20, or 3 weeks, 21 days, $21. We see that one a lot, you know, or come up with something creative, you know. Try us out for a week for the cost of a cup of coffee, $4.50 trial for a week. Who knows, whatever, all right, or whatever. Find out how much a pizza costs in your area, and so instead of getting pizza this Friday night, do our $19.95 3-week challenge, you know, blah, blah, blah. So have a low barrier offer. If you're doing personal training, obviously you're going to have an offer around personal training. You've got to bear in mind that that's going to involve more of your time. So it will need to be a little bit higher. You might have 3 sessions for $97 or something like that, where you can really give someone a good taste of what training with you is like. And then they're far more likely to actually continue to train with you. So I've got to keep moving because we are hot on time today and trying to rip through it all. The next one that gets totally underused is strategic alliances. People are so focused on online now that they forget that all you're doing online is trying to talk to people, trying to talk to your target audience. So we spend all this time targeting everyone on Facebook. You know, I want to target mums and bubs, blah, 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 blah. But you forget that 200 meters down the road, there's a baby shop. Who shops at baby shops? Mums shop at baby shops. So what we can do is literally go down to that baby shop, introduce ourselves to the staff, say hello, how you going? Tell them what we do. We run group training for mums and bubs. We have this great special offer for people to try us out. And obviously you guys have heaps of mums here. So I thought we might be able to have a chat to see if there's some way we can help each other out. Who would I talk to? And they say, oh, you can talk to me. That's great. Cool. So would any of you guys be interested in training? Blah, 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 blah. How many people work here? Yada, yada, yada. Turns out there's 8 people that work there. 4 of them are interested in training. You come up with a great deal for them. Instead of paying $50 a week for your boot camp, they might pay $10 a week. Okay. they get a great deal, and then you put up a little lead box in their shop, and you've got 4 salespeople now, okay? So we did this in a ladies' clothing shop a little while back, and within 2 weeks, we generated 40 leads. We offered free training to all the people that worked in the shop, and it wasn't a huge shop. Okay, there was 3 or 4 girls that worked there. They all came down for their training and started training with us for free, and they put a little lead box on their counter, and they were walking around all day in their shop telling everyone about Bootcamp. We got 40 leads out of it, okay? So really, really simple strategy that often gets overlooked. Remember, target market. So don't just walk into every single shop or business in the world. Make sure they're very, as close as possible to your area, and who actually shops there. Okay, so think, if my target market's mums, where do mums go shopping? Ask them, where do you get your haircut? Where do you go to eat? Are there any cafes in my area that are really child friendly that all the mums would go to, etc., etc.? Okay, so get really specific. Okay, any questions on lead generation? I'm just going to exit out of here so I can see any questions popping through again. Questions on lead generation, pop them through, and I'll keep rocking on here. Now we're going to talk about how do we turn those leads into clients. Okay, now we're talking sales. This is much more important than lead generation. Let's have a sip of water here. Okay, so most PTs think, I need more leads, I need more leads. But here's the thing, if you turn the tap on in the bathtub before you put the plug in, what's going to happen? The water's going to go out. Okay, so in order of importance, we've actually got these reversed. So the most important thing, which we're going to go into next after this, is client retention. Because it's no good being great at sales and great at lead generation if you're no good at actually keeping people, because you're going to work really, really hard just to be continually signing up new people and not having any ongoing clients, okay? Second most important is sales. No good spending heaps of time and money on generating hundreds of leads if you can't convert them into clients, okay? So lead generation is the final piece of the puzzle. So I wanted to start with the lead generation just to give you a bunch of ideas, but now I really want to focus in on these two, get these two right, and then you can apply all the lead gen in the world, okay? All right, sales time. Calls, 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 calls. Here's what's important about calls. The first thing is that you make more of them. Okay, you make more calls. This was one of the biggest BFOs, which is blinding flashes of the obvious for our crew at yesterday's Brisbane workshop. Okay, is that they weren't making enough calls. Most people do not buy from a business until somewhere between the 7th and 12th contact with that business. Okay, so if you're not calling each lead at least 7 times, you're missing out big time. I'd recommend at least 10 or 12 calls. If you've called them 4 or 5 times and they still haven't answered, try a text message and an email, and then try calling them again the next day. Okay, but be persistent. If one person out of 100 gets pissed off and says, stop calling me, well, that's okay, and that's their problem, not yours, because they actually inquired and you're doing your best to try and help someone who reached out for help, okay? So you can be okay with that. You need to work really, really hard at trying to make contact, because what happens is someone puts their details in, and then if they're, possibly in real need of help, okay, they're going to start talking themselves out of it. Oh, it's scary, maybe I shouldn't go. Oh, what if they stare at me? What if they make me feel bad? What if I can't walk the next day, etc., etc.? And they start this process of talking themselves out of it. So, or maybe they've just been really busy at work after they inquired, okay? Or maybe their partner got sick or their kids are sick and they haven't been able to get back to you, etc. So keep calling. Second thing on calls is a law of diminishing return. So when someone inquires, that is when they are most likely to buy, okay? So in other words, if you inquired right now and I called you straight away, you're going to be very keen to have a chat because your emotions are high. You saw the ad and you actually said, yeah, I want that. I want to find out more. I call you, you're like, wow, that was impressive. You called me straight away, as well as the fact that you're just, emotionally ready to do something. So we have a bit of a chat and then we book in a time to sit down and go through things, okay, and get you started on your trial with the low barrier offer. Okay, and it just makes a lot more sense that way. The other thing is, most leads these days, most people are finding or on Facebook on their phones. Okay, so they literally type in their details in, and then 20 seconds later, they're still on their phone scrolling through Facebook, and their phone rings. So they're much more likely to answer it because the phone's literally in their hand. Okay, so super, super important. Now, get your pen and pad ready because I'm going to just teach you an amazing phone script. Most personal trainers, and someone mentioned this earlier, they need to be able to turn more leads into clients. Most personal trainers really suck at the phone call and therefore don't get people booked in. Okay, so everyone just wants to know the price, etc., etc. Okay, because they don't handle the start of the phone call very, very well. So I'm just going to walk you through the three most critical parts of the phone call. The first is the setup right at the very beginning. Okay, and the principle I want you to remember here is the expert asks the questions. If you go to the doctor is asking you the questions. Okay, you're not going in there asking all the questions, right? He's asking you questions, she's asking you questions, and you're answering, and then they give you a diagnosis. Okay, they tell you what you got to do, which is how we're going to handle this because we are the expert in this situation. So ring, ring, and then I'll say, hey, is that Sally? Sally, yeah, great. Jake here from Positive Existence Personal Training. How are you today? And she says, I'm okay, I'm good, thanks. How are you? I'm great, cool. I'm giving you a call in regards to your bootcamp inquiry. Have I caught you at a good time? That's our first question, right? She says, yep, go for it. Fantastic. Sally, just so that I can help you best, is it okay if I start with a few questions? Okay, that is the thing you need to go with. Is it okay if I start with a few questions? So just so I can help you best, is it okay if I start with a few questions or I ask you a few questions? Whatever feels good to you. Now, this puts you in control of the conversation and you can ask the questions that you know you need to ask, okay? And we'll get to those in just a second. But what most people do, or most personal trainers do, is they make that call and they say, hey, and then, hey, so I was just giving you a call in regards to your bootcamp inquiry. So do you have any questions? Now, if you've been doing this for a while, you know their first question is 90% of the time, how much does it cost? Right now, as soon as you get into that part, before you've even gotten to know them, all they're doing is comparing on logic. Okay, so, well, you cost $50 a week and they cost X amount of bucks per week, you know, so they're making a decision based on logic. We want them thinking emotional, so we need to make a connection with them. We need to find out about them. Okay, so we start asking some questions. Great, Sally, first question, how did you find out about us? And she's, I saw it on Facebook. Okay, great, that's cool. What's your goal, Sally? What are you trying to achieve at the moment? She says, I'm trying to lose some weight. Do you have an idea how much weight you want to lose? Yeah, I want to lose this much. Have you got a particular reason? Why do you want to lose that much weight? She said, last time I was at that weight, I felt really good. Okay, so if you want to lose that weight to feel good, does that mean at the moment you're not feeling so great? And let her elaborate, really start talking. Sally, have you ever done anything like personal training or boot camp before? She says, yeah, I used to do a boot camp down the road here, blah, blah, blah. Great, Sally, that's awesome. Can I ask you, why did you stop? Okay, that's a great question that not enough people ask. Why did you stop? And she says, I didn't really like the trainer. Okay, what didn't you like about the trainer? Or they were inconsistent. There was a couple of mornings there where they just didn't turn up and we were out there, in the cold waiting and nobody turned up and it was a real letdown. And you say, wow, I can see how that could be really annoying. Or maybe they say, my trainer keeps going away, every school holidays they're away and I miss my training and blah, blah, I want to be consistent. So you can find out what's annoying them or what they're actually looking for, and then you can talk to them about it. Sally, that's cool. Yeah, I can understand how that'd be really annoying. The great thing about when you come down to our boot camp is we never cancel the sessions because we actually have a team of trainers. Okay, so if I'm away, Romana will run the session or Rachel will be able to run the session, etc., etc. And you can start talking to their concerns. Okay. So once you've had a bit of a chat and you've gotten to know them, they're going to be feeling pretty good at this point in time that, hey, I like this person. I've got some rapport with them. Of course, they're not thinking about these things logically, but these are just the emotions that are running through their body. Now, our next job is to get them from the phone call into an appointment. Okay, so I'm going to give you the script for that right now as well. Okay, so get your pen ready. Okay, Sally, fantastic. So we've established that we can definitely help you, and to get you started on our special trial, which you've seen, the 4 weeks of $47, is the process from here is we'll organize a time to sit down, we'll have a bit of a chat, get to know each other a bit better. We'll talk about your goals in more depth, and we'll come up with an action plan to achieve those goals, including what we need to do with your training, what we need to do with your nutrition, and how we're going to keep your mindset on track. How does that sound to you? She says, that sounds great. Of course, it sounds great. It's bloody awesome, right? So then we can book her into a time to sit down, go through all the details, get her started on her 4 weeks for $47 trial or whatever your low barrier offer is. And then instead of talking about how good we are, we're going to show them how good we are. Okay? That gives us the ability, the chance to actually have a huge impact on their life and make a real difference to them. And that is when they're going to be super happy to buy. Okay, so you can see a photo there. It's a Romana next door office to me right now, making some calls. And Romana's our COO here, our Chief Operations Officer. She looks after the day-to-day running of the business. She trains up all of our new location owners. She helps train up our Pept Academy people that are doing their Cert 3 and 4 in fitness with us as well, who then become our next generation of trainers and location owners. So that's her job. So calls. Make more calls and get better at them. Practice them. You wouldn't, expect to be an Olympic athlete if you didn't train. Don't expect to be great at sales if you don't train. Okay, book a meeting. Never ever just say, yeah, come down and try out a session. Okay, here's what happens when you do that. And most of you guys, probably this has already happened to you, whether you've realized it or not, but they come down and they might have an injury you don't know about. Or you say, get there 15 minutes before the session starts and we'll go through a few things. And then they rock up right at 6 o'clock when your session's starting and you just got to say, oh, look, just jump in and, away we go. You don't even know them from a bar of soap. You haven't introduced them to the other boot campers. They don't know how you operate here. Maybe they've got a sore back that you didn't know about and then you've got them doing something and they heard it. Maybe you just know nothing about their fitness level and they get super worn out and they end up vomiting in the garden bed halfway through the session. You're not creating a great experience and you're not creating a relationship. Okay, so people buy from people they know, like, and trust. That means you need to spend some time building a relationship. Now, getting a new client is much like launching a rocket ship. All of the energy, or 80% of the energy, gets used up right at the start. So we put in a lot of effort at the start for not much return. A rocket ship, you see all the clouds coming out from underneath, hasn't even got off the ground yet, but it's burning all this fuel just to break that inertia, okay, and get off the ground. Once it's in space and orbiting around, or once you've got a client who's been coming for a few months, they're really easy to manage and maintain because they love coming and being a part of the community. So book a meeting every single time. Chance to catch up and have a chat. Cool. And you can see that's Jordan and Chelsea in that photo there with Romana. And they're actually here this week. They're from Geelong and they're here doing their training to open a new location down in Geelong, which is really cool. Relationship building, pretty much what we're just talking about. But that's why we do the appointment. Come on in, meet them, just be genuine, be a nice person, get to know them as a person. Don't just start talking about training the minute you see them or the minute you get them on the phone, okay? If you want to find out about them, and they will in turn find out about you as those conversations roll on. Find their why in the appointment. So you need to find out their goals, and then why is that important to you? Now, most people will give you a really shallow reason first. So you might say, okay, so you want to lose 10 kilos in the next 6 months. That's fantastic. Why is that important to you? And they might say, because I want to have more energy, or I want to feel good about myself, etc., etc. And you might say, okay, so if you want to feel good about yourself, does that mean you don't feel so great at the moment? And they say, yeah, okay, well, describe that to me. How are you feeling at the moment? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so why is it important that you don't feel that way anymore? And you might keep asking these questions, and eventually you get to a point where, they might say something like, look, I saw my kids, or one of my kids the other day said, I should lose some weight, or my kids look up to me and I want them to see a healthy, happy person, not a person who's miserable and grumpy all the time. And that's when you've really, and you'll see the emotion, their body language will change. That's when you've really connected to their emotional reason for needing to take action. And that's when you're most likely to be able to help that person. Remember, sales in our industry and in most industries is nothing more than helping that person find a solution and commit to something. So if you do not get great at sales, you are doing a huge disservice to everyone that you come in contact with. If you can't close them on a deal or to come and train with you, they might not do anything, right? They might just go back to being lazy and sitting on the couch. You have an opportunity to change their life. So you want to get really, really good at sales, because sales in my language is changing someone's life, okay? So, and then close. Yes or yes, close. Okay, so give them some options. We won't be able to get into too much detail on this one. By the way, if you want any more, this is the incredibly express version. Like I said, this is a 3-hour talk in 1 hour. If you want a more detailed version, you go to my Facebook page and you'll see where we're doing our live events. We're doing them all around the country. Even if you don't live in one of those places, there's a thing called Aeroplane now that you can jump on, go to that place, and come and check it out, and you'll be able to ask lots of questions. We're going right into depth. I'm going to teach you exactly how we close people into our boot camps ongoing before they've even come to a session, okay? Direct debit forms signed before they've even come to a session, and it makes it so much better, takes the stress out of it. Now, we're not going to have time to go into depth into that today, okay? But come to one of the live events and we'll do that. It's going to be well worth your while just for that. Okay, so that's our sales, and hopefully you've got a few key things that you can grab straight out of there before we move into our client retention. Cool. For leads that, Michael's got a question. For leads that inquire to your page that haven't gone through a contact form, etc., I generally contact them over Facebook via PM. Is it best to try and get their phone number, and how do you go about doing this? Great question, Michael. Thank you. The answer is yes, it's definitely best to try and get their phone number if possible. So I would just, first of all, answer the question that they've asked you. So if they say, hey, just wondering what time the sessions are on, I'd just say, sessions are these times. First of all, thanks, Sally, for, reaching out and asking the question. Hope to meet you soon. Here's the answer to your question, blah, blah, blah. Best thing to do from here would be to pop your phone number through and I'll give you a call. Or if you prefer to call me, here's my number, okay? So you've answered the question, you've asked for the phone number. If you just say, hey, I'll give you a call and, answer your question for you, it can come off a little bit rude. Like, they asked a question, so answer it, but then say, hey, would love to help you out more. I'm sure you've got more questions, and I'd love to tell you all about our 4 weeks and how we can help you, blah, blah, blah. Pop your number through and I'll give you a call. Okay, so that'll be the best way to handle that. But definitely, where possible, you want their phone number, because words alone equate to about 7 to 10% of communication. Tonality in your voice will be 20 to 30%, and the rest will be from body language. So that's why we want to get people face to face, but bare minimum, talk on the phone first, so then we can get them face to face, as opposed to trying to book an appointment via text messaging or Facebook messaging. Definitely. Okay, write this down, incredibly important. Retention equals relationships times results. 80% relationships, 20% results. Okay, client retention equals relationships times results. Okay, I know I've got a plus sign there, but it should be a multiplication sign. Not that it makes a big difference. 80% relationships, 20% results. So do most PTs spend 80% of their time learning about people and how to build relationships, or do they spend 80% of their time learning about, how to become, or how to do better squats or nutrition, blah, 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 blah. Of course, that stuff's important, but it's not important if you haven't got any clients, okay? So you need to get great at building relationships so that you can deliver the results, okay? Don't get that one backwards. People will come more for the relationship than they will the results. Imagine this. You've got a personal trainer who's the biggest guru in the land. They know everything there is to know about losing body fat and getting ready for, to look great for summer or whatever it is, right? Whatever your goal is. but you turn up to the session and they just don't really give a stuff about you. Every time you go there, you feel like you're an inconvenience to them. Are you likely to keep going back and back and back just because you know they're going to help you get results? Or, even though they make you feel like crap every time and ungrateful or whatever? Or you're going to go to the person that makes you feel great, even though they may be a little bit less knowledgeable, okay? 90% of people will go to that second person every day of the week. So make people feel great, build strong relationships. Award and recognize. So if you want to retain your clients, appreciate them. What you appreciate appreciates. Okay, so if you spend all your time just trying to get new clients, forget about your old clients, your existing clients, then don't be surprised when you don't have them anymore. So we have this cool thing, which I'll actually bring up in... that photo is coming up later, but I'll bring it up. So we have this thing called our very important client, which is our VIC status, which means when you're at 12 weeks, we give you a singlet or a shirt, pepped one, pretty blue one, and it's got VIC on it, and we award it to them at the end of boot camp. So we say, hey, special announcement, Jenny's a legend, she's blah, 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 and we're going to give her this VIC singlet, and everyone gives them a clap. Okay, so we recognize and award our people. And we're trying to build a community, okay? So we do fun events. Like this one, you can see we got one of the guys from the health food shop to come down, bring packs to all our people, and we put on a big session and we cooked dinner for them and had a great time. We're building a community of people. This is at our Caboolture location, that photo there. Street Fighter startup, that's just some numbers, okay? We're gonna have to rip through all of this stuff because we're literally running out of time already. And that's only level 1. So like I said, guys, we can't get through all of it in 1 hour here on the internet. But get yourself to one of our live events. We've got next week Darwin, Adelaide, and Perth all the next week. Even if you're not in one of those, get to one of them. In July, we're going to Wollongong, Sydney, Melbourne, and Hobart. Okay, and I'll lock those dates in and venues in the next couple of days and post them up on my Facebook. So make sure you follow me on Facebook, okay? Jacob McCluskey, MCLUSKIE. Preschool phase, this is simply where you start hiring team members, okay? So challenges of finding the right person and becoming a leader, okay? That's a real critical one. So again, I'm just skipping through this super fast because we got like 5 minutes left. So hire slow, fire fast. There's one of our photos from India. Manish, one of our clients, getting his VIC from Sid and Anita there. You need to know how your hiring and firing process works and you need to build a pipeline. So you've got potential trainers coming through all the time. The best way to do that is to get as many people coming to do work experience with you as possible. And you're going to come across the right person at some point in time. Manage first, lead second, unless you manage the work and get the results and your team is actually making the calls, doing the appointments, signing the clients, you're not going to have a business to lead. So make sure that you manage first. Live the vision, lead by example. That's the number 1 principle in leadership. And have difficult conversations. Don't brush things under the carpet. They get worse and worse. If you've got feedback or something that needs to be resolved, resolve it quickly. All right, we've got some wages in there. And again, we haven't got time to go into that. Let's just say phase 3, but adulthood. Now you have some responsibility. Okay, you're moving into a studio. You've got overheads now. And the keys to success is just going all in and using that studio, using your facility to boost your retention by being able to run better sessions, okay? One of your challenges is going to be getting finance and all that kind of stuff sorted, which is one of the big challenges that we help our guys with the great relationship with the finance company. Sometimes we even help out with finance ourselves as well, so that our location owners can move up in the world and help more people. All right, phase 4, graduation. Now you have some options. This is where you've got a team that can run all the sessions for you. Okay, your biggest challenges and your keys to success there is going to be actually getting more people on your team, building a great team culture, and having a pipeline for the future team members. As your business grows, you're always going to need more and more people in the future, and you need to plan ahead for that. You can't just pull someone out of the air when you need them. You need to be bringing them along, doing the work experience, etc., so that when you need someone, you have someone that's ready. And phase five is the entrepreneur phase, where you can go and do some cool stuff. So for the next 2 weeks, next week I'm away all week doing these events around Australia, and then from Perth, I do a Super Saturday with our WA crew and do a bunch of work with the team next Saturday, and then I'm going straight over to India to spend a week over in India to grow our Indian business, okay? All the while, by the time I come back, we're going to have more clients than when I left, okay? Hands up if you think that's cool. Hands up if you would like to be able to do stuff with your life and have some options, okay? You might not want to go to India and do that. You might want to work with charity. You might want to spend more time with your family. You might want to go to Disneyland. Whatever you want to do, okay? But the point is you have options. The world is your oyster because you aren't chained to your business anymore, okay? You go to work because you love it and you want to make a difference and have an impact, not because you have to. If you're sick one day, it's okay. The world's not going to end, Or if someone else gets sick, you can go and look after them if that's what you want to do. So you need to have a next big goal. You're going to have to become a really strong leader at that point in time. You're going to need to start thinking about leadership succession. Who's going to take over some of my responsibilities? Team culture. The bigger your team gets, the more important the team culture. And personal leadership. When you haven't got the structure of the same, going to work at this time and doing these certain jobs every day, you need to be really, really disciplined with your own personal leadership so you can stay on the right track. Okay, so we're going to skip through a bunch of these questions, okay? But basically, I want you to have a think, what level am I right now, and what do I need to do to get to the next level, and when am I going to do that, okay? So it's as simple as that, and then get to it, okay? Now, from here, we're going to spend the next 3 minutes explaining to you how PEPT works, okay? How our business works and how we can help you grow an amazing business that helps hundreds of people. So, you got two options right now. Option number one is you simply say, that's some great information, Jake. Fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to run with that information. I'm going to improve my business that I've got right now. Okay, or you might say, I want some more information, so I'm going to jump on a plane and go to Perth next week. Or whatever it is that you want to do, right? Depending on where you live. I'm going to come to your workshop. It's a free workshop, by the way. I'm not trying to sell you anything there. Just turn up to the workshop because I would love to actually help you, and there's just not enough time on a webinar. Okay, or option number two is you're going to say, well, I could go and do all those things by myself, but it's going to take me years and years and years, okay? Or maybe, I don't know if I can do all those things by myself. I think I need some help, okay? In which point in time you would want to at least investigate the opportunity in opening a PEPT location. I'm going to run you through it briefly right now, but if you're interested in that, really simple, you're going to pop your phone number, in the questions box, and Tash, who is in charge of helping people figure out if we're the right business model for them, she will give you a call either this afternoon or tomorrow, depending on when you're free. She'll give you a call straight after this if you're free, and she'll run you through the details, okay? She's actually on this webinar listening, so give us a high five, Tash. Put your hand up so I know you can hear me. All right, there you are. Cool, so how's opening a PEPT location work? Basically, we do a bunch of stuff for you, okay, to make your life much easier, allowing you to grow your business faster with less headaches so you can have a bigger impact on the world. So if that sounds good to you, keep listening. We're going to do all your marketing for you. So instead of you spending the next 6 months figuring out how Facebook ads work, and then when you do, they change, because that's what Facebook does, it's constantly changing, you simply allow us to do it for you. We pay a marketing coach a lot of money to have the most up-to-date information, and we invest a lot of time and energy in testing out all these ads across 36 locations so we know which ones work best for you. We're spending about $4,000 a week on Facebook ads, okay? So we can really quickly find out if an ad's working or not, and if we find a great ad, then we can pop it straight into your location so you get some amazing results, okay? So that's going to cost you about $400 a week if you go and find someone else to do it for you. But then remember, on top of that, you're going to have to actually pay Facebook. So you might pay them $100, $200, $300 a week to actually run your ads. especially if you don't know what you're doing. You're going to waste a lot of money and not get very good results. Every Friday, you're going to jump on a webinar we call the Pepped Weekly with myself and my team, maybe my business coach or one of my other coaches or friends who are really knowledgeable in business. And we're going to teach you something really, really cool. Maybe it's one of the other Pepped location owners who's going to jump on and teach you how they got 200 leads last week, for example. Okay, so you get to learn directly from them. You're going to be coached every fortnight by one of our team, okay, who have done amazing things. You're going to come to our quarterly PeppedCons, which is where all our location owners come together for a weekend of learning and professional development and a good time as well. We have lots of fun, so it's a real big team, family atmosphere, which is my favorite weekend every quarter. Okay, so every 12 weeks we come together, and it's literally my favorite thing to do in this world. You're going to get all your admin done for you. So instead of you sitting there typing direct debit forms into a computer, which may not seem like a problem now, but when we teach you how to get leads and convert them into clients, and you're trying to do that for between 10 and 20 direct debit forms every single week, it's going to become a giant pain in your butt. And instead of doing that, we're going to do that for you so you can go out there and help more people, okay, and do what you're good at. We're going to give you all the working systems. So we spent the last 8 years improving what we do and building some great systems. We're going to give you that straight away so you can find out what works and do it right from the get-go instead of spending 8 years learning and hundreds of thousands of dollars to ever get to that point. Contracts done for you for whenever you're hiring people. We're going to help you with your leasing contracts and all that kind of stuff because we've done that dozens of times. We've got all the contracts you need to hire people the right way so that you're covered, which is really cool. You're going to get 10 days of training with us here at HQ, which is what Jordan and Chelsea are in the middle of right now for their Geelong training. You're going to learn how to sell, get leads, turn them into clients, keep your clients coming back for more, how to run world-class, amazing sessions, as well as get to know all of our systems in the business and how we operate so you can have a smooth transition. You're going to get access to all of our intellectual property, all the videos that we've ever done, all the trainings that we've got. So, we can teach you how to do sales and run great sessions, etc., and give you all the tools, as in videos and documents, etc., so you can help your team do that as well as you build a team. Okay, you're going to get 7 weeks of marketing and coaching done for you right at the start, included into your initial price, okay, which is worth $5,000 by itself. So that equals $43,000 upfront, plus $850 per week if you were to pay for all of those things separately. So if you've got your credit card handy, pull it out. Tash will give you a call. We'll charge $43,000 to it, and then every week $850. Okay. Of course, I'm only joking because we've got a much better deal for you. That would be a great deal, by the way, and it'd be well worth your investment. But really simple. If you want to talk further about it with Tash, and if you do end up owning your own PEP location, all you will be investing is $12,000 up front, which, by the way, can be fully financed. So if you're looking at $12,000 thinking, I don't have $12,000, but it sounds great, that's okay. Just the same as you go and buy your car for $25,000 and you pay $110 a week or whatever it is, then you can do the same thing for this $12,000. We have a great relationship with a finance company, and like I said, sometimes we even finance them ourselves, okay? And $363 per week for everything, including the Facebook ads. Literally, we pay Facebook as part of that because we test out so many ads, we get the leads for so much cheaper than you could possibly get by yourself. So we can spend $60 a week on, it's actually $63 per week out of that $363 on Facebook ads, $9 a day, okay? And we can get 3 or 4 leads for you every single day versus you wouldn't get a single lead from that unless you got really, really good at your Facebook ads over the next 6 months, okay? So you get all of this for what you'd be paying Facebook and a marketing consultant anyway, okay? But you get everything else included on top of that. So it's as simple as, like I said, pop your details in. I've got to get going really quickly, but pop your details in, as in your phone number, into the questions box there, and Tash will give you a call this afternoon, find out when's a good time to run you through all the finer details. I've just given you the real broad overview there, but she'll run you through the finer details, answer all of your questions for you, and we'll have a great time. So that's it from here, guys. Like I said, check out my Facebook, Jacob, Jacob McCluskey, McLuskie, and you will be able to see all of our upcoming events, okay, which are really, really cool. And yeah, they're going to be awesome. So we're going to go through that presentation, but in much more detail with a lot more question and answering, okay? So it's going to be a great time. And thanks, Michael, for the feedback. He says, back to work for me. That's cool. FYI, the main point I got from this was that I need to get better at calling people and sales. Absolutely. A couple of things you need to get good at is calling people and sales. The other thing is building great relationships with people, okay? So hope you got some great takeaways from that. Pleasure sharing our time together today. So thank you very much. And I look forward to helping you more in the future, hopefully seeing you at one of our live events. And have an amazing day, guys. Thanks again. Bye-bye.